Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. Alright, for my Halloween-a-thon, I guess I have to do like a response video to a really bad review. To be more specific, more often is, of course, is this religious people again. And no, don't be thinking I'm just trying to pick on them. That's not what it is. If you're, don't like, I've been accused of that before. But anyway, so, more specifically, this is, of course, in regards of the plug-in show by the family, by Focus on the Family. Oh boy, everyone has been accused of being picking on religious folks, which is not the case. I maybe yes, true, these people are religious, but that's not precisely why. Maybe a part of it, but it's not because we hate religious people. That's not the case, though. Just to be clear, again, we're being accused of doing that too. But anyway, it's more than one film called Champion, which I did a review of it a while back. Actually, that was a pretty good film, by the way. I liked it. It's just one of those types of movies. The less you know about it, the better. And I'll leave it at that. It's a really good film. I know not a whole lot of people are talking about it. It's probably because it flopped, I guess. Which is unfortunate because I thought it was a really good film. I honestly thought it was a hell of a lot better than the Conjuring movie, the supposed last one. And yeah, this is definitely a much better film. Not a popular opinion, but I don't care. I really don't care. But anyway, that's kind of besides the point. So, of course, as usual, this is going to be split into different segments. Of course, when it comes to this text review, um, which again I do think is rather lazy. I prefer a more of a video review, if anything, but that's more of a me thing. But anyway, let's go to the first segment and just break it down like I would always do when it comes to these videos, type things, I guess. Anyway, let's begin, shall we? So I'm just trying to give the, I guess, context out the way, and just I've spoken about these people before. They're the people who are called a bunch of softies, which they are. And I wanted to do something Halloween related, obviously. Even though technically speaking, this film was released a little while ago. Anyway, okay, let's get to the point, shall we? This already it's starting to feel like it's dragging out. So here we go. So in this called review, yes, the main woman here, Irish. Yeah, she's supposed to be a stunning woman, and she's beautiful and all that. Which, yes, of course, is potential. She's not just stunningly beautiful and wickedly smart, and but yeah, that's kind of the point and whatnot. And I would say more about these so-called plot summary, but I don't want to say too much really. For those who have not seen it, yeah, there's this one guy named Josh, of course, and whatnot. And I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I might don't want to spoil too much, really. And I mean, for the plot summary, I mean, it's more the person who is responsible for this review does give a bit more context compared to the usual stuff. So that's something, I guess. But which I think is actually a good, is a surprise. So whoever wrote this review actually gave a much better summary of the plot better than usual. I mean, there's some stuff that's left out, of course. I mean, I don't know why you just stopped there. I mean, you must just go in forward in depth why you've gone that far. But anyway, yes, more details given than usual in comparison to the other time. So there was that, I guess. But yeah, there's this dude named Josh, and Iris is the main woman. I guess the most focused when it comes to these beautiful women or handsome men or whatever. The people who are attractive. In comparison to her, like the other attractive people, she's the main one that I guess focused the most. And yes, there's a point to that. It is called companion for a reason. And again, I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'll leave it at that. I'm probably giving too much already as it is, but I'll leave it at that. But anyway, moreover, of course, there's a segment called positive elements, which of course they, like I said, the people who are responsible for this text reviews, I tend to break it down, of course. Again, I don't want to go over too much in this because it's going to live too much in spoiler territory and whatnot. I know the trailers want to give brief mentions here and there. I'm probably a materials for the film, of course. And you should know that Iris is okay. I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'll leave it at that. And yes, you already know that she is for Josh. and she has her own memories and blah 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 blah. Blah, blah. I'm not gonna go beyond was. Of course, she's really pretty and full lips and all that. Again, the way she looks is very, very. All of it is intentional. The way her eyes are, her skin is so smooth, and her hair and all that. Again, I'll leave it at that. And it's geared towards how Josh is as a person, but to some extent, anyway. And I would leave it at that. Yes, that is mentioned there, but again, I would just leave it at that. That's very, very purposeful. And yeah, again, I'll leave it at that. All right. So spiritual elements, yes, it's not there. There's nothing here at all, which I'm fine with. So I know when it comes to uh, again, this really makes it really difficult for me to talk about it because there's certain aspects of the film I would like to speak about, and because I know what this individual is referring to when it comes to like self perversion and whatnot. So okay, another part of the of this review, even call it, I'm gonna kind of just glance over it because it isn't kind of too specific in some cases. But anyway, yes, there's a purpose in the film where something gets really sexual and whatnot. Yes, it is a part of the story, and that is a thing in the movie. The film does, even though it's a horror movie, yes, but it is built around this, this some sexual in nature, I guess you would say. That is a thing. And but the way that it's worded here is somehow it's a bad thing. And again, I don't want to read what was on there because it gets too specific. Because I don't want to spoil some points of the film. Again, it's one of these types of movies. I know, like I said over and over again, it's one of these types of movies. The less you know, the better. But anyway, I'm just kind of just teasing it in that regard, not in a sexual way, of course. But anyway, yes, when it comes to anything romantic speaking in that regard, yes, it's kind of the review kind of paints the picture. Yes, it's going out to social norms, obviously. Even though well, most of the characters are straight. Even though it's going outside against the social norms, even if all the characters are straight, even then, it's going out the social norms of what's considered normal even for straight people. Because this is there's a special thing. I'm gonna say thing because I'm not gonna say what that is because I don't want to spoil it. Really, there's a special thing that's required for someone to get into bed if someone can't find a partner, and they might find other means to do so, even if you're gay or straight or whatever else. And I'll just leave it at that. If there's other means you could get, romantic with somebody, or in this case, something. Okay, let's put it this way. Let's just say that there are people out there, regardless of your sexual orientation, may require sex dolls for gratification. If you know what I mean here. But I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Okay. I know. I've been so fucking vague. I know, I know, I know. But not that I'm trying to bring shame to anybody. If that's what you need, that's what you need. There are people out there who are lonely and may require some assistance in one way or another. Again, regardless of your sexual orientation or gender identity. I mean, it's something you can buy on Amazon, by the way. If you want to do that kind of thing. Again, not that I would judge. Not that I would judge. Go for it. If that helps you out, then sure. Go ahead if you want. But anyway, again, then for the vibing content, I'm gonna go brief here because again, it kind of goes into spoiler territory. But yes, it's a horror movie. It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a horror movie. It's a fucking horror movie. Of course, there's gonna be violence. And again, the person who wrote this segment of the review, again, even call it a review, is trying to paint the picture like it's a bad thing. It's a horror movie. It's a fucking horror movie. So I don't understand here. I mean, whether it was self defense or not, that's kind of debatable. It depends on who you're referring to. I mean, yes, there is a segment in the video that in the movie. I mean, there are segments in the film where the violence is deliberate to show dominance against the other person. Said other person decide to go rogue and the other people wants to fix that other person and teach the other person a lesson. That's not self-defense. That's just trying to show dominance over that other person. Again, I know I'm being vague. Okay, I know, I'm being really vague. And then when the other person wants to fight back, and then it returns to self-defense. It returns to self-defense in that regard. I mean, there's other forms of violence in here, including to harm to oneself, and because wants somebody to do something to themselves. I'll just leave it at that. I know I'm being really, really vague, but those are a few different forms of violence. Is what I'm saying. There's a few different forms of violence, and I'll leave it at that. One of which somebody convinced the other person to point a gun to their own head, and I'll just leave it at that. Okay, I'll leave it at that. But what this person, with this individual who wrote this review, again, if you don't call that cannot grasp is that those different forms of violence. It's just not one. It's just not one way of violence, which should be obvious because the Bible itself is littered with violence. Which I find confusing in a lot of ways, because the the Bible, the violence in the Bible is far, 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 far worse than in this movie. What's going on in this movie will seem relatively tame compared to what's in the Bible, and these religious people seem to be partly okay with that. But this violence expressed in the movie without a religious context is somehow a bad thing. Like, what? I don't get it. I'm just so confused. I'm so confused by this entire thing. Anything about it? I'm lost here. But then again, this is the bunch of softies, as we call them. Of course, none of this can make any sense. I wanna. It's just really stupid. Anyway, all right, and of course, they're gonna complain about the swearing. Of course. Just and also, of course, they're gonna bring up some fact. Oh, somebody said Jesus. Oh, goddamn! As a way to. Oh no! How dare you use God's name in vain? Oh, see this. Those the word bitch, shit, motherfucker. God damn it! Piss bucket. Tit dirt. Chicken tits. But whatever. Just because you say, oh no, a bunch of no words were said in a horror. It's a horror movie. It's a horror movie. It's a horror. Of course, there'll be some foul language. No fucking shit. It's a goddamn horror movie. I'm just rated R, okay? I'm anyway, then complaining about the alcohol use, blah 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 blah, alcohol use, and then something about toilet gags being thrown in the mix and whatnot, and what they're referring to, I don't know what that means exactly, but it's just, I guess it's supposed to be a reference to the fact that a character, I'm not going to say who, but a character actually enjoyed lying. So, so even though said character recognizes the fact that lying is bad, but does it anyway. Oh, it's actually kind of fun to lie. But anyway, I mean, a lot of you Christians lied anyway. So, and a lot and people from your own group of individuals, people the softies from for a lot of from the plugged in show, a lot of you actually lied too. Y'all complain about the LGBT plus community. You lied about them. So why is it that suddenly you want to view lying as bad? Y'all people lied about gay folks before, saying they're just bad people just because they're gay, which in itself is a lie. And if one of them is bad, it has nothing to do with their sexual orientation, because being an asshole knows no sexual orientation, knows no gender, knows no color. If you're a piece of shit, you're a piece of shit regardless. This is like kindergarten stuff. You wouldn't know it anyway. But let's just try to finish this up because this is just ridiculous. For conclusion, and this is technically horror sci-fi, I guess, and whatnot. And it goes into the whole companion thing, of course, as it says in the title. When people are lonely, so people who are lonely will seek out companions, one way or another, if you know what I mean here. And which is understandable. which is understandable because of the fact that us human beings, we are social creatures. Even in getting in bed with somebody or something, I should say, it's part of getting into social bonding. If I'm saying the proper word, say social bonding. So in that context, the movie does make sense in that regard because it's part of human nature. Whether people want to accept that or not, it's part of human nature. It is. People are social creatures, so they want to bond with people in one way or another. You know what I mean here. And even if it's through one method, you catch my drift, and I leave it at that. Anyway, this was terrible. So thanks for watching, and take care. Till next time, see ya.